All right, so there are lots of things going on. Try not to get overwhelmed with everything. I have 3 kids and a partner and a job to do every day, and there's just so much to discuss and cover. But I have tax returns to file in lawful money. I've got to authenticate my birth certificate because that's a huge step in creating the rightful creditor position over your straw man, so you are the one in first position lien rather than the USA Inc. or the Crown. And then we got the notice of liability. 5G got approved in our town, and I'm really happy about where we're at with Orgonite. We're going to focus more on gifting, and we got some mini tacticals that are good for affordable for everyone, so they can gift. We're going to go gift more, and I feel like I've really found a good position on the Orgonite, how I'm making them now. I've kind of been tinkering with different ways of making them, and now I feeling pretty good about it. Had a great sun gaze this morning. I recommend sun gazing every morning. It's beneficial for your everything, your cognitive abilities, your third eye, your pineal gland, which is kind of the seat of the soul. We all can decalcify and detox a little bit more every day if we focus on it. And so what we're seeing now, and the reason why I'm going to do more of these videos is because like I discovered years ago, is that it's really crucial to be the wise owl in the tree observing at this time, at this juncture, because of the amount of disinformation that's being circulated. When I first started awakening, I don't know when it was, maybe 2012, around then, I started reading like spiritual blogs and stuff, and I came across one quote that I always remember that said, in the upcoming years, there's going to be so much disinformation that you're going to need to be the wise owl in the tree, observing and in neutrality. And so I'm going to try to do these videos in a place of neutrality where I'm not getting too emotionally into it. But there is truth. There is truth. There is an objective truth, separate from our subjective realities and our subjective truths. Okay, and that's the goal. That's the goal, is to find the truth, because we can get there with gnosis and accumulating knowledge, and we will find the truth, and it'll set us free. We all want the same things, I think, but we just kind of, I don't know, we some of us get led astray. The mind of man is the word of God. The word of God is the mind of man. So we need to really get control of our thoughts and make sure that we're trusting our intuition and focusing on the right things. And it's so easy to be led astray as far as the temptations of whatever might bring you into a lower frequency, whether it's porn, whether it's ego, envy, jealousy, lust, everything like that. And I'm focused on staying in those higher frequencies of the Creator, keeping my mind in the Creator mindset of with God, of just taking in knowledge and not letting myself get subjected to those lower frequencies. But it's really hard when you deal with so many people who are responding to you and calling you names and things like that. And it's just like, I'm going to try to not even check comment sections as much. But the video I want to do today was basically about disinformation and how everything is being flipped on its side. So I saw a comment this morning, this guy saying 5G is not a weapon. I've had it for a year and it's harmless. I haven't dissolved yet. You'll see, man. And okay, it's like, okay, well, the current Wi-Fi is at between 2 and 6, and 5G is going to be between 24 and 90. When you're at 60 gigahertz, you're in directed energy weapon range. Look it up. Look up what is the frequency range of a directed energy. 60 gigahertz. Okay, so when you get to that point, we're dealing with our oxygen being affected, the way oxygen molecules, the absorption rate. Oxygen is everything. So 5G is ultimately an attack on our immune system, our oxygen, and our privacy, our health, everything. Okay, so there's so you're going to see pushes for normalizing and flipping everything that's bad for us. And so 5G is going to be one of them, because more people are waking up to this thing, and it's $1 trillion rollout by telecom. So they are going to be, they have a huge pull on Congress, just like the pharmaceutical industry does, just like oil and gas and meat and dairy, all these huge industries that are part of they want to keep the status quo in place. So it's turning into an information war, and that's why you're seeing censoring on Instagram now, or if this is a false information. I saw that on PubMed Science, my man Joe's post. So like, what? He was correlating autism with vaccines, which is factual and science-based, and said this is false information. Like, who decides what's false information? You know what I mean? They're trying to control the narrative. So this is an information war, and so you're going to see them trying to say how normal and harmless 5G is. You're seeing it with more people going vegan. So there's now people are, they're funding studies that show that the carnivore diet is healthiest, and we've been doing it for millions of years, and that's the way, bioavailable. So you're going to see that in what we eat. You're going to see that in the drugs, the pharmaceutical. I'm seeing more shills pop up. I thought we were getting to a point with the vaccines that, like, pretty much everyone knows that, like, this shit's toxic and we need to stay away from them and focus on, detoxing those who have gotten their shots. We need to focus on, getting our medical exemptions and things like that. Now I'm seeing people saying, oh, all those toxic ingredients in vaccine, those are just for preserving it. Yeah, there are adjuvants, aluminum and stuff like that. But there's, you're seeing people saying that that's what, it's harmless. It's just a normal amount. That there's that much metals in your fruit. Just stuff to confuse people. Remember, the goal is to confuse people. That is their goal. So the goal of disinformation and shills is just to create doubt. Okay. So you'll see them in comment sections, you'll see them censoring more posts, and you're going to see more confusion, unfortunately, because unfortunately we do have an age of information where you can look up PubMed Science, you could look up peer-reviewed science, but you also have science funded by industries, and so then those diluted, manipulated studies are going to be circulating, and so there's this carnivore doctor, Saladino, who went on the doctors. He's a psychiatrist, and they get 6 hours of training on nutrition at medical school. That's a fact, and they get about just as much as I think vaccines, you get about either 2 hours or 6 hours of studies on vaccine. Listen, my partner's a nurse, and I know lots of doctors and nurses who have told me, just for me asking questions like, oh, how much training do you get on vaccines? They don't get much training at all. They just are trained where to give the shot, and they're not trained on the ingredients. They're not trained on the side effects. Nothing. They just push them because they're incentivized to. If a child gets all their shots, they get a bonus. Look that up. It's a fact. And so they're not, these doctors, first of all, you got this Saladino guy who's a doctor. He went to medical school, but he's a psychiatrist, okay? Well, how much training did you receive, and who's cutting you checks right now? Who's funding those 37 studies? Who's cutting you checks to say that carnivore diet is the healthiest? Because in no peer-reviewed science does anything ever show that the carnivore diet, eating predominantly meat, will extend your lifespan, decrease the risk of cancer and disease, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, you know, even dementia. I mean, like there's osteoporosis, you know, all those hormones, all those the cancer cell growth. It's unbelievable. But you're going to have people who they love getting good news about their bad habits. And so people who love eating meat, who are not going to want to change, they're going to take this industry-funded science and they're going to say that that's the truth, and then they're going to parrot that, create an IG account, and then call vegans an agenda and a cult, and post their science funded by meat and dairy, and they're going to claim that's the truth. And then so those people are going to get confused, and then they're going to try to own comment sections and try to flip it on its head that vegans fighting for justice, equality, compassion, creating as little harm as possible, as little environmental destruction, as little waterway pollution, and as little cruelty to animals as possible. You're going to get them, you know, it's going to be flipped saying that there's an agenda with them and they're a cult. It's absolutely unbelievable. And unfortunately, we're just going to have to rely on people's common sense, and unfortunately we don't have a society that, I mean, that's uncommon. Common sense is uncommon. Common sense isn't so common. You know, people can't even realize they're getting sprayed with chemtrails. They don't even notice. They don't even notice. You know, there's increases in dementia and Alzheimer's is, you know, dementia being the third leading cause of death in the UK and Wales now, and respiratory disease climbing up there. But yeah, it's not our air. It's not all those white trails you see in the sky. Those are just water vapor, right? Even though they've admitted that they're geoengineering and the planet to fight climate change, and it's all verifiable. And weathermodificationhistory.com, you can see how they absolutely are modifying the weather each and every day worldwide. You still have people who don't even realize this is happening. So common sense is not so common, but we have to rely on people's common sense in this age of information. And so we're in this really crazy predicament as 5G is being rolled out, as mandatory vaccines are being rolled out, and climate action plans are being rolled out in our cities. So the agenda is to fight climate change, even though we can't fight poverty or homelessness, clean that up, but we're going to fight the boogeyman climate change as they're spraying chemtrails in the sky and controlling the weather. They're going to normalize 5G. They're going to try to get 5G small cells in our actual neighborhoods and somehow convince us that we need that, which defies all logic and common sense, because it's totally unnecessary. I mean, having smartphones on every person, 86% of the world have smartphones, something like that. I mean, that is already pushing it. And I admit it, I'm using a smartphone right now to record this, and I admit it, I would be happy. I can't wait till we can wire our house and I could go back to a flip phone. I would love to do that. But I am guilty. I like the convenience of having a smartphone, but that doesn't mean that I need 5G and the Internet of Things and a 5G small cell in my neighborhood, with my toaster oven talking to my microwave and my washing machine talking to my dryer, and my sprinklers talking to we don't need all that stuff. We're taking it too far. They're preying on our ignorance around the technology, and they've tricked everyone into thinking that technology is such a good thing that we got to keep it going and just over revolutionize, and now we just need better, faster, quicker, blah blah blah, and to the point where we're going to microwave our balls off, to the point where we're going to get cancer at double our cancer rates, and decrease our oxygen absorption, and the kids and the elderly and the animals and the bees and the birds and the environment are going to suffer. It sounds like a great idea, So I'm going to cut this one off for now, but we'll do another one soon later.